Hey, 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 what's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all, what's going on? What's the deal? Listen, I'm here. It's Thursday. It's Thursday, and it's time for your anonymous homeschool mom confessions. Y'all come on in here, say, hey, what's up? Let me know that you are here. If you're in the comments, go ahead and give me something. Let me know that you're here. Let me make sure everything is good to go and working like it's supposed to. Let's see. Give me a thumbs up if you're in the comments. Let me know that you can hear me. I'm going to look here as well. Let's see. All right, I see one thumbs up. Hold on, I'm just making sure we're good. That the volume is all good. Okay. All right, we're good. So, hey, how's everybody doing? Okay, so listen, I know that I have been MIA probably probably about the last maybe 3 to 4 weeks, maybe. I decided to take some time off and get some rest and relax a little bit while the kids were kind of shut down. Hey, Tisha. Mason is not doing as much training as he typically does. He is off for soccer right now. And then my son, the other son, Deuce, who just turned 16 yesterday, is also off as far as basketball is concerned. He is doing a little bit of training, but not so much, right? So he's not doing his normal schedule of training. And so, what I decided to do was take an opportunity to get some rest and relaxation and try to get myself together, take the opportunity to do some self care for myself. So I have been off for the last couple of weeks, but I am back. I'm here. Y'all see, I've been cutting up on the reels, but I am back. I'm here. And so we are back with episode 3 of our anonymous homeschool mom confessions. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the few that I have. There's only a couple. I'm going to read the few that I have and go ahead and answer those. You are welcome to go ahead and send your confession right now while we're live. I will open up the phone lines. I'll let you know when the phone lines are open so that you can call and do it live if you want to do it live over the phone. But the premise and the goal of this situation is to make sure that you are good to go, that you are doing amazing, that you are preparing yourself for the next school year, that you are speaking life into yourself. And if you're not, that I can help speak life as well. Right now, depending upon when your school year is starting, our school year typically has already started, but this year we are pushing it back to August. And so, myself and the collective, the Homeschool Moms Collective, which is the group coaching that I do every Mondays, we have started the process of planning our next year. And so that's what we're working on. Okay. So I am going to read these confessions. There's only like 2 or 3, I think, if I remember correctly. And then I will open up the phone lines. And if you want to, you can go ahead and call me and confess your stuff live. Or you can go on the website in the meantime and go to SeanTheHomeschoolGuru.com / confess and go ahead and confess whatever it is that you want to confess. Okay, so let's get this done. Okay, let's help each other. Let's get some peace. Let's get some joy. Let's get some laughter. Let's make sure that we are all good and on one accord. Okay, so let's get right to it. Y'all know how I am. I know y'all have whole lives and things to do. I try to do it at this time of night so that you guys can be kind of, I don't want to say focused, but not be consumed with mommy duties. And so I try to do it this late at night, but I'm going to go ahead and go through these and we'll go from there. Okay. All right. So the first confession says, Dear Sean, you are the homeschool guru. I am. Let's see. I feel like a failure sometimes because I just fall into these depression states and I just don't feel like doing anything. I feel the kids could be further along in their studies if I wasn't in such a funk. I feel if I demand time for myself, it's selfish, but it would so help me and the kids. Okay, so listen, I'm gonna get a little personal and talk to you about my battle or my fight with depression. I've mentioned it before if you've been around. Um, eh, the best thing that I have done for myself when it comes to my depression or when I get in my funks was kind of determine the cycle So basically, what happens, what causes it, what starts it, what's the trigger? And for me, the typical trigger is being overwhelmed or being anxious about things that are happening or going on, right? So, say for instance, you guys know that we have multiple businesses, and one particular business is a catering business. The catering business takes a lot of work, and what tends to happen is the the amount of work that it takes, and then the amount of cleanup after the fact and all that stuff. My house is usually a wreck. There's just a bunch of stuff going on that typically triggers me into an anxiety mode where I'm just anxious because I can't get to things like I want to get to them. And then that anxiety mode pushes me into a depression mode. Okay. And so the best thing that I have done for myself ever was, one, realizing that I do suffer from some type of depression, figuring out what my triggers were, that caused the spells or the funks. And then the very next thing was I went and got medication. I am not a big medication person. I'm not a big pill taker. Like, that's not something that I typically do. But what I was doing was I found myself fighting to be okay more than being okay. And so when I say fighting, I mean, I would get up in the morning and I would be, it would be a difficult start. If you've dealt with, depression in any kind of way, it would be a difficult start. And then something would happen and it would trigger me to kind of flip, or trigger me to have some type of downspin, right? So I'd spin out of control. And so what I'm going to say to this mom who is experiencing some depression, the biggest and the most important thing for you to do is to get some help, right? You need to go talk to either a therapist, or you need to go talk to your doctor and say, I don't feel okay. I didn't know. And again, being personal. It is what it is. I believe in being transparent. Hopefully it will help and bless someone else. I never thought that I was suicidal, right? Okay. So throughout the years, I never thought like, oh, I'm going to go harm myself. Like, oh, I'm going to go do something and like not put myself on this earth anymore, unalive myself. But what I did think of was my life, like the kids and my husband, their life would be better without me. Okay. So what I thought in that space was I was causing more harm to my kids and my husband than I was helping them. And not fully understanding what was happening, why that was the feeling that I was getting. But the best thing that I did was go get some help. And I will forever tell somebody that. I know I had a conversation with a family member recently, and it wasn't really a conversation, but it was like back and forth, text comments or whatever. And I mentioned that when it comes to depression, that the best thing I ever did was get medication. And the person responded to me and said, well, I don't want to be on drugs. Like, I don't want to be medicated. I need to center myself and ground myself. And for the longest time, that's how I thought, right? Like, I can handle it. I'm Sean. Like, I've been through the storm. Okay. I've pushed through some things. I can push through this and it will be okay. It will get better. And then I spent years being very, very honest with you. And this is completely transparent. Lord have mercy. I did not expect it to go down this route. But I spent years being in the church and begging God, y'all, like begging God to remove depression from me, right? Because I was miserable. Like, I was fighting so hard. Like, I was crying all the time. I was staying in my room all the time. I was in the bed. Like, I wasn't really even interacting with people. I would get up and do what I had to do, but then I would go back into my room. And so I refuse, being very honest with you. I would just beg God, like, just being honest, like beg him. Like, I remember sitting at the altar, and if you know how the black church goes, then cool. But I remember sitting at the altar and just tears streaming down my face and begging God and being like, why won't you heal me? I've been dealing with this for years. I've trusted you. You said, if I believe, if I ask in your name, like repeating scripture, doing all this stuff. In your word, it says that when I am the weakest, you are made strong. Like, I just have to let you do what you do. Like, I was begging God, y'all. I was begging him to heal me. Like, begging him, like, just, Lord, please, like, heal me, please. Like, I was begging him. And then what I found was, because I wasn't quote unquote healed, and because I wasn't quote unquote healed, I would get into a deeper depression. And then I would go talk to ministers who were lay counselors. And lay counselors are very different than therapists or psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever. But I would go talk to a lay counselor, a pastor, a deacon, whatever, a lay counselor. And a lot of them would say to me, you just don't believe, or this is happening because of this, or you're still dealing with depression because of this. And I always thought it was me, y'all. I always thought that there was something that I was doing wrong, that God would not heal me from the biggest thing I was asking him for, right? Like, y'all, I was begging him, tears streaming down my face. If I go to my journal right now and read pages from my journal from a few years ago, you'll see like I'm praying, like I'm pouring my heart out to God, like, and I talk to God like he's my homeboy. I don't talk to God like, oh, Father God, in the name of Jesus. Like, I'm not deep and wonderful. I do give him reverence. I do, bless his name. I do all that stuff. But then when I get to talk to him about my problems, I really get intimate with him about that, right? And so I'm like, God, like, what is the problem? Like, I'm doing what you asked. I'm reading the scripture. I'm begging. I'm checking with the elders. I'm doing all this. Like, why am I still dealing with this? And I couldn't figure out why I was still dealing with it. So fast forward, I went to my PCP, my normal practitioner, right? And I said, something is going on and I can't get past it. Like, I can't get over this hump. Like, I'm not okay. And I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm fighting every single day. I feel like the bad days are happening more than the good days. So say for a day out of a 7-day period, maybe 4 to 5 of those days, I was fighting to push through. And so I was just honest with my doctor, and I told her that. I said, I'm out of 7 days a week, I am fighting to push through. I am fighting all the time, and it's not worth, like, it's too much. Like, I'm not getting peace. I'm not okay. My kids are experiencing the frustration and the anxiety and the anger and all that stuff, and I don't know what to do. And so then my doctor suggested, well, let's look into some medication. And let's look into some therapy. And so the best thing I did was contact the therapist, and the therapist was like, let's listen, until we can get this under control, you definitely need to get on some type of medication because there's something going on chemically, right? So we need to get that balance. So let's do that. And then you need to talk to me or see me a couple of times a month. So you need to see me every 2 weeks. At first it was every week, and then it went to every 2 weeks. And so when that happened, of course, I was like, I don't want no medication. I don't want to be on no drugs. I don't want to do this. Y'all, listen, the pill that I take every day has been the best blessing I have ever received in my life. Now, like I said, I'm not an advocate for a medication, but I'm an advocate for you taking care of yourself. And so if you are in that space where you are depressed, where you are anxious, where you are waiting for the other shoe to drop, where you can't get peace, where you are fighting more than you are succeeding, right? And when I say fighting more than succeeding, then it is important for you to go to the doctor and get some help. Listen to me. If you hear nothing else in the world that I say, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's about being a wife or a mother, okay? If you hear nothing else I say in the world, hear this, okay? Hear my heart as somebody who experiences depression, who experiences anxiety. Go get some help. Find you a therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever to talk to. If medication is needed, or you feel that medication is needed, ask your doctor. If you feel like, I'm not sure if medication is needed, ask your doctor. Be honest with your doctor and say, hey, doc, like I said, I'm never thinking about unaliving myself. That's not something that I think about, right? I don't think about unaliving myself. But doc, I wonder if my kid's life would be better if I wasn't here. And my doctor said to me, Sean, that's unaliving thoughts. That's exactly what that is. Doesn't necessarily mean that you will hurt yourself, but you begin to wonder what life would be like without you here. If it would be more helpful. And then my doctor loved on me, right? And said, let me tell you this. A, life is not going to be better without you here. B, your kids love you and need you and they want you. C, your husband is the same. D, number 4, 5, blue, whatever you want to say. It's okay to take the opportunity and the time to put yourself first. Life is hard. That was the most profound thing she ever said to me. Life is hard. We're not dealing with the same life our mothers, great-grandmothers, grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers, and their life was hard in a different way. But life is hard. And if there's something out there that can help you be okay and help you function normally, then get the help that you need. Okay. And so whoever that person is, okay, whoever that person is, it is important for you to take care of yourself. It is not selfish for you to take care of yourself. Put you first every chance that you get. That doesn't mean that you're putting your kids last. It just means that you realize it's the space that you're in and you're putting yourself first. Okay. So that's my whole big old spiel. I didn't mean to tell y'all all that. That was not my intention, but hey, listen, it is what it is. Okay. All right. Let me go into the comments. Hey, Cinda. Tisha said, yes, yes, yes. Hey, Theodie. Let's see. Tisha says, depression causes you to place guilt on yourself for being depressed. It is not always controllable or able to be self-regulated. A lot of depression is because of anatomical and chemical changes. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. It's not always us, right? It's like for me, because I placed blame on myself, it was like, why can't I shake this, right? Like, why can't I push through? And I've told y'all some of my story, growing up, whatever the case may be. I have pushed through amazing things, okay? I have pushed through so much, right? And my mentality is push through, it'll be better on the other side. But every single time I pushed through the depression or every single time I pushed through the funk, it was never better on the other side. It was never better. It was like, okay, day 1, funk, day 2, funk, day 3, funk, day 4, funk, day 5, oh, it's getting better. Okay, I can see the light of the day, a light of day. Day 6, oh, there's a little bit of light. Day 7, okay, there's light. Then we start over. Day 8, and I'm back in a funk. There was no peace for me. There was no peace for me. And so I'm being very transparent and honest with you. If medication is not your thing, fine. I'm not telling you to go take meds. For me, that was the best thing. But what I will tell you to do is go find you somebody to talk to. Okay, go find you somebody that can help you cope with it, that can help you figure out the cause of the depression, that can help you do the what is it that the therapist called it? My cycle of depression is what she calls it. She called it. She said, we're going to sit down and we're going to find out your cycle of depression. We're going to find out what triggers it. We're going to find out what sends you all the way down a spiral. And we're going to figure out how do you get out of it. And we're going to figure out why you get right back into it. And we sat there, I think, for 4 sessions and went through each single one and made a circle. And I wrote down, this is how it starts. This is what triggers me. This is what this does to me. And then I go from here. And then once I go from here, everything else fall apart, right? I don't want to be my husband's boo thing anymore because I'm tired, I'm sad, I'm exhausted, I'm angry, okay? I don't want to do the things I love anymore because it's too much, okay? My kids are getting on my nerves extra, not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they're being kids. Like all of that, okay? All of that wrapped into one, okay? Tisha says, anatomical and chemical changes in the brain, which requires medication in some cases. It's okay. Exactly. And so it may require you to be on medication. For me, it required me to be on medication. That may not be the thing for you. You may need to learn the cycle and figure out how to do that. Okay. That may be your thing. But for me, medication was the best thing that I can do. If I miss a pill, I get upset. Like sometimes I have to get up early and run the kids around and I'll be like, oh shoot, I forgot to take my pill. And so it's important to me. And my husband and I, we joke about it. We're goofy. We joke about it. No hard feelings or nothing like that. I'm like, babe, I forgot to take my crazy pill, or babe, I forgot to take my pill. And he's like, oh shoot, let me, where you at? Let me get it for you. Let me do this. Like it's a whole joke between us, but he knows the peace that I get from that, the help that it gives me to make it through the next day. Okay. All right. So that's me. I'm just being honest. Okay. Oh, you're so welcome. You're welcome. Let's see, but it had to be shared. Life is hard and there's support out there. Thank you for sharing your testimony. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, life is hard. That was the most profound thing, right? Life is hard, right? And it's not that I didn't know that life was hard. It's just that I felt like I should have had more control. I felt like life is hard. Push through, Sean. Like that's how I felt. Okay. Tisha says, my doc said, unless you're walking around with bottles of serotonin to drink to replenish your brain, then you need something to help regulate your levels. That is absolutely correct. Listen, That's just my story. Okay. So for that mom, going back to all that, I told that story so that you know that you're not alone. Also, when it comes to depression, but also, um, at some point we all feel like we are failing our kids, right? Because we want them to be so successful in this journey. We want that, right? That's important to us. And it's not like it's on the teacher's hands, the people at church, your husband, you, whatever. It's literally on your shoulder and your husband's shoulders because you've taken on that big old task. Okay. So that's legitimate. That is a legitimate concern. And so what I want to say to you is, this mom, you feel like depression is kicking your behind, then it is time for you to step in, step up somewhere and get some help from a professional. Okay. Whether it's medication, whether it's talking to a therapist, but it's time for you to get some help. Okay. So that's the first thing I want to tell you about the depression. The second thing is, we all feel like we're failing. So you're not alone. At some point in our journey, we feel like we might not be doing the right thing. Okay. I felt that way all the way through Yanni's, and she graduated this year. Dual enrollment, okay. But at some point throughout her journey, I felt like I was failing too. Okay. And so get the help. Mom, I'm talking to you. Get the help. Whomever you are, get the help. Okay. Get the help. Get the help that you need. Okay. All right. I hope I answered that for her. I hope she's listening. If not, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Let's see. The second one is, let's see. Dear Sean, you are the homeschool guru. I'm exhausted physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Sweetheart, get you some rest. Mama, rest. Y'all saw me. I shut down. I wasn't doing nothing extra. There are times in the last week that I have literally laid in the bed, got out of the bed to get something to eat, ate something, and got back in the bed. Okay. Or got up, got on my bike, did my 45-minute class, got in the shower, put my pajamas back on, and got back in the bed. Not because anything was wrong, but because I needed to rest. Okay. And so if you know that you are physically, mentally, emotionally drained, it's time for a break. It's time for you to take a moment to step away. Okay. And I know when it comes to little kids, that may not always be an option. I also know that if you're a parent like me, I don't trust everybody with my kids. That is a whole, I don't want to say coping mechanism, but that is a reaction to the things that happened to me as a kid. So I don't trust a lot of people with my kids. Now, as they're older, right? As my daughter is 18 and my son is 16, I feel like they can handle themselves a little better. My 12-year-old, I'm still very cautious about who he's with and who he's around, especially without, his dad or I there, or his grandmother or grandfather. I'm very, very cautious about that. And so what I'm saying to you is, if you are emotionally, physically, spiritually, if you know that you are exhausted, take a break. Okay. That may mean tomorrow we're going to get up and we're going to go to the park. We're going to come home and we're going to chill. Take the break though. Take care of yourself. There's nothing more important than taking care of yourself. Because the fact of the matter is, if you fall out right now from exhaustion, who's there to take care of those kids? Anybody. Anybody can answer that for me. You're exhausted and you pass out. You're stressed. Who's there to take care of your babies? Who's there to continue their education? If you leave this earth right now, who's there? Not you. Take care of yourself. Make yourself a priority. You have to. You have to make yourself a priority. And it's okay to say no. My friend JQ says, no is a complete sentence. She says that all the time. No is a complete sentence. And every time she says it, I'm like, huh. You're right. There's nothing else needed. No is a complete sentence. Take care of yourself, okay? All right. Let's see. I lack consistency in my homeschool. My child isn't advancing, and it's because of me. We have missed several days because of me being sick and not pushing through. Please help me. Okay. So for you that is lacking consistency, What I would say to you is it's important that you write it down, make a schedule for yourself. Okay. So for us, one of the things we're working on in the collective, which is the group, the weekly coaching that I do with a bunch of homeschool moms, we do homeschool coaching every Monday. And one of the things we're working on right now, again, is planning for the next year. And what I said to them about being consistent, because they all had some type of statement of, I'm scheduling is an issue or planning is an issue or whatever the case may be. It's important that you sit down and you set aside some time to plan and make some type of plan. It is okay to miss days, being very honest with you, but you also still need to complete and finish the work. And that all depends on what type of homeschool you're having, right? So if you're unschooling, then you're not worried about that, right? That's not your concern. If you are doing a more traditional method or something to that effect, then that may be important to you. For me, that's important to me. So guess what? We may not do science today, but we're going to do it in a couple of days. We're going to get it done. Okay. So there's always some type of schedule, something in writing, something to hold myself accountable. Okay. Another thing to do, one thing that I did as well for me, excuse me, was I kept attendance. And I know this sounds weird, but I did it for about 6 weeks. Okay. I was having one of my periods, my moments, my time, and I actually marked off every single day that we were doing school. And when I look back at how many days that we missed out of those 6 weeks, it put a fire under me to get it together. Okay. So it made me say, nah, we can't keep doing this route. We're gonna have to fix this. We're gonna have to push through. If that means that maybe my school day is too long, and that means I'm doing something wrong to that effect, we're gonna have to push through. So you're going to have to hold yourself accountable. So that may mean a schedule, that may mean taking attendance for yourself so you can see it for yourself. And I tell you guys all the time, people say my child is behind. There is no behind, period. Your child is where they are or where they're supposed to be at that moment. And even if your child is not as far along as they should be, or you prefer them to be, or you plan for them to be, then take that time to build from where they are. Okay. Don't harp on the fact that, oh, we were supposed to be done with this math book by July and we're not done. Okay. Just from that point on, say, okay, it's July, we're not done. Let's get to work. Let's get this done. Okay. Because this is important for them to move forward to the next level of math. Okay. So hopefully that helped. As a teacher says, days of doing nothing are required prerequisite for homeschool moms. Not teacher work days, but teacher do nothing days. It's on my calendar. Schedule makes it happen. Exactly. So you have to be intentional. Okay. So like she said, a teacher do nothing day. Okay. So that means maybe we go on a field trip day, or maybe, you know what, our thing is watch some stuff on Netflix, some science stuff, National Geographics, and y'all go outside and play on a trampoline. Okay. Then we come back in and we chill. Maybe that means we're doing math by learning how to cook today. Okay. Something like that. Okay. But it is important that you take that opportunity in that time. You're going to have to be intentional with scheduling, and you're going to have to be intentional with making sure that you follow the schedule somewhat. And again, I set up a plan. There is a plan that my kids do for 6 weeks. Some days we don't get to it, but the days that we don't get to everything that we're supposed to, it gets pushed to another day and it gets done later on. Okay. But you have to hold yourself accountable as far as that's concerned. See, I'm having a hard time finding time for myself. My husband away from Monday morning to Friday afternoon every week. No family near and no support. How do I find more time for myself? Okay, so I know this sucks and you're not going to want to hear it. There's 2 ways that I would suggest, well, 3 ways that I would suggest that you do. You can wake up earlier than the kids. I usually wake up an hour and a half, possibly 2 hours before my kids, being very honest with you, so that I can do whatever it is I need to do, whether it's working, whether it's quiet time, meditation, whether it's working out, whatever it is. I wake up 2 hours before my kids, typically. And so that's one way. I also typically stay late. Like I make them go to bed at a specific time, and then I stay up an hour or 2 later sometimes to do that. I haven't been doing that so much, but so do that. Another thing too is, I don't know how young your kids are, but when my kids were younger and when we first started homeschooling, I told you guys about this as well. We did something called tea time. Okay. And what tea time was, my kids enjoy drinking tea. So do I, like hot tea. And I enjoy coffee, but I do enjoy tea. So what I did was I bought the variety pack of the flavored teas, and every day or a couple times a week. It was actually more like a couple times a week. We were supposed to do it every day, but it never really happened every day. But a couple times a week. So say maybe Tuesday and Thursday, right around lunchtime. So they would have lunch, okay, and then they would do tea time for 30 to 45 minutes. Tea time involved quiet. It didn't matter what they were doing as long as they were quiet and they weren't disturbing the rest of the family. So for me, that was me sitting on the couch reading a book. For my daughter, for Yanni, it was the same thing. Okay, so she sat on the couch and she pretty much read. For my boys, they did. One of them did, and I forgot to show you all this. One of them did logic puzzles. There's a workbook that I buy from, or I used to buy from Amazon, and he would do logic puzzles. One of them would draw. Okay, so my other son would draw, like he has an emblem that he wants to do, and he would draw. So the premise was for those 30 minutes, you had whatever drink that you wanted, so tea, coffee, whatever it is, and you sit quietly in that moment. You do not disturb the rest of the family. Okay, so my suggestion is as they get, like they're younger, of course it's going to be smaller, but my kids are a little bit older. So your tea time may only be 15 or 10 minutes. Okay, everybody finds something to do quietly without disturbing the rest of the family. And you be consistent, you set boundaries, and you make sure they follow them. Now it's going to take a minute, right? Because they're kids, right? So you're going to say it's tea time or it's quiet time, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and you're going to have a seat. Let's have a seat. Mommy, 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 listen. I hear you. That is absolutely amazing. Like, I know that's going to be an amazing story, but right now it's quiet time. Can you write it down and we can talk about it when we're done with tea time? If they start playing with Legos, and y'all know Legos can get loud, right? That would be a task that would not be acceptable because that would disturb the whole entire family. But maybe like putting a puzzle together. Okay, so you're going to have to, again, be intentional, add it to your schedule. Now, what would also happen is because it was around lunchtime, and this was a trick for me, it was around lunchtime, right? So I get them good and full, some good food. And I also, those lunches would be heavier than the others, being very honest with you. But I would get them some lunch, and then 1 o'clock, 1:15 would be quiet time or tea time. Okay, typically when they were sitting there quiet reading whatever the fact may be, whatever it was, they would end up drifting off to sleep for 30 to 45 minutes, and then I got my quiet time. Okay, so I mean, be intentional, schedule it, make it happen, start teaching them now what it means to take care of yourself, right? Because what we don't want our kids to be, just thinking about this, what we don't want our kids to be is us, right? Learning at 42 years old how to take care of ourselves and say, I'm not okay and I need some time. I need some peace to myself. That's what we don't want, okay? We don't want that. We want them to learn how to take care of themselves now. So start teaching them early, okay? So tea time works. It works great, okay? All right, so those are all the emails that I have. I am going to open up the phone lines. You are more than welcome to call in. That number is below 832, and I don't remember it, 832-779-0478. 832-779-0478, and you will be live on the air. The phone lines are open. Okay, it says days of doing nothing. Oh, I already read that. Yeah. But you are more than welcome to call live if you'd like to and ask or make your confession. But this has been a great conversation, okay? What I want you to take from this more than anything else is it's okay to put you first. It's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, Doc, you got some more of them antidepressants? It's okay to say that. Like, it's okay to say, I need some help. And when we are honest with that, we help our kids so much. Like, not only that, but we're teaching them self-care, which we just talked about, right? We're teaching them to say, I'm not okay. I tell my kids when it's my therapy appointment in the family group text, I'm like, I'm going to therapy. And then when I'm done, my kids ask, hey, Mom, how was therapy? It was a good session? Yeah, it was a pretty good session. And then some days I'm honest with them. I'm like, no, I hated it. And then we'll have that conversation. Well, why did you hate it? Because she dug a little too deep for me. But I know it's going to be better for me in the end. But I just didn't like how she dug into me like that. She made me think about stuff I don't want to think about. Okay. And so do that. Take care of yourself so that you can be better for your kids, but also so you can teach them how to take care of themselves. Okay. All right, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all know how I am. I'm not going to stay on here long. I have read all of the emails that have come through. If you want to call, you are more than welcome to call. I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes. I'm going to be here every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, going over your confessions and helping you solve those confessions. And, listen, it doesn't have to be all this deep, right? It could be funny. I don't like my kids. And now, you know what I probably say? Child, sometimes I don't like my kids either. And the fact of the matter, sometimes they don't like me. So it doesn't have to be that deep, but you are more than welcome. This is a space, a safe place for you to come in there and say whatever it is you need to say to get it off of your chest. There is no way to track you. I don't ask for your phone number. I don't ask for your name. I don't ask for your email address. There's literally a box that says, make your confession. That's what it says. Okay. And you can do that at SeanTheHomeschoolGuru.com/confess. Or when we're going live, like I'm live right now, you can dial 832-779-0478. Okay. All right. So listen, nobody is, let's see. Change your press. I don't see anybody calling. So I'm going to jump off of here. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful Thursday. I will be back here again on next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You are more than welcome to put any and everything to confess your anonymous confessions. I will see you guys soon. Thank y'all so much for joining. Until tomorrow. Nope. Until Thursday. Bye.